Yo, what's up, Octo and Joe Schmo? It's a lot of black and white potatoes. I don't. Where are you seeing a lot of potatoes at? What's up, Mick Glitchy? Thanks, Octo. I appreciate that, man. What's up, guys? So, cool news. Good news, everyone. Uh, a pretty cool milestone to hit for both the Discord and the server. I thought it was really weird, but the Discord to subscribers ratio was like 1 member to 10 members subscribing, and it's been that way for like a very long time. And it's like maintained that this whole time, which I thought was very fascinating. Oh, you're talking about the 10K for lots of black and white potatoes. Gotcha. Yes, all the spudscribers are indeed potatoes. This is confirmed true. Um, well, for the stream, I this is kind of my original newbie creative world. I don't do as much on here anymore, but I just kind of wanted to maybe go through a little bit of history of the channel and how I kind of got started doing redstone and show some of my early projects and how it relates to what you see on YouTube, and we'll kind of flip back and forth between some stuff on here and some stuff on what you may see on the channel page. But yeah, this is kind of where I started doing redstone, and I think it's real important that everyone who enjoys redstone or who enjoys just like playing in creative and making things has a space where they can mess up a lot. And so this is my space where I mess up and make newbie stuff a lot, or at least I try and keep it better than that now, but it still serves a very good purpose for that. So let's go to the channel page real quick and give me just a moment. So that should take you here with me. Yeah, I see that OBS is doing it, but I want to make sure that it is because I suck at streaming. It looks like it should be coming through on the stream all right. Yeah, okay, cool. So this is basically, if we look back at my earliest stuff, I have made a few videos hidden back here, but I did some very newbie and yet entertaining things. Really, the about the start of Redstone is right here with my cat porter video, and this was really fun because it was something that I just couldn't find on YouTube. So I was like, well, I guess I'll make a video about it and post it. What's up? Oh, we're getting a lot of chats. What's up, Max? Cool. Congrats. That's awesome. Yeah, you're ahead of me. It sounds like that's cool. Um, yeah. So it's been a long time since the channel started. If you can look at the video editing in this and the old splash screen that I eventually decided to drop because it's just kind of overly newbie and funny, but yeah, this is kind of what took the channel off because it had about like 30 to like maybe 100 views for a long time, and then like in the expanse of about a week, maybe 2 years ago, I can't remember exactly what it was, it jumped to like 60,000 views or something crazy. And so that was like the moment I was like, oh, I guess people do kind of like stuff that I make. So I started making some more things, and that's kind of the history that you see here. But the original cat porter is actually still on my world here. And yes, you should be here with me. Cool, cool, cool. Just making sure because I'm really bad at this. That's right over here. And this is where I made all this. And so eventually I realized that this needed to be upgraded, and I came back to it later. But yeah, this was, I believe it's still working in 1.21.4, at least. I don't think any of the mechanics have broken completely. Gotcha. Yeah, there was a demo on the server that we used to play on Octo. That is true, and that's part of the video for the second, uh, the improved version of this. And really, besides that, we can kind of go through some of the farms that I have made. Since the first one here, since the cat porter, the next one I worked on was looks like it was the wheat farm, which is also over here. And this is one I actually want to revisit again as well. Um, so I'm gonna be straight up with you guys, and that surprise, not everyone who publishes everything to YouTube has the best designs figured out, even if they put like easiest in the title. Definitely learned a lot about what I like to convey with my titles, and you'll see that they're more newbie with like the beginning videos. Like if we switch back to Firefox, you can see like best clay terracotta farm, uh, easy. Like it gets like I think progressively more mature as I do my thumbnails, and I need to remake. I can change these thumbnails. I need to do that, but the wheat farm is one that it definitely can still be improved, but it really, I mean, it's a good idea at its core, I think, and but there's a lot more work that really needs to be done. So this version, I kind of went for just maximizing the area for the crops for one villager, and so truth be told, I'm not sure what the maximum or like the optimal area per villager needs to be in something like this, but I still think that using allays is a very good way to do a farm of this scale. Villagers are pretty laggy by themselves, so if you have a lot of bone meal, it's a lot easier to use a nano farm or something. You could attach like a nano farm onto the new not super smelter, the new mob farm I had that crafts a lot of bone meal. So you could do that, and that would probably be a lot easier than building this whole thing. But if you had to make a villager based system, something the base of this is still pretty good. I believe it gets like I can't even remember the hard rates for this. This filter is super weird. I can't even remember where I found this or why I started using it. And this is probably the worst part about the whole thing. But I mean, at the end of the day, it does work and you can still build it. I want to revisit it maybe to do like a better kind of all purpose general villager farm. I don't even think that I don't even think TMCC has a villager crop farm at the moment. So that might be fun to work on. But yeah, a little bit newbie, but definitely an interesting idea. And no one had been doing allay stuff yet whenever I made this. So I thought that was pretty cool. And I think that the next one I did looks like it was the clay farm. And so that's something that I think it still gets like a decent amount of views on my analytics. It's, I mean, for a manual clay farm, it's pretty good. There are a few things that I would definitely change. Mainly this T flip flop and this system. Um, this is very strange looking back on it. This little comparator clock to push a piston very fast. It was because the server me and Octo were on, zero tick stuff was actually broken on the server, and I have no idea why. But we did confirm that it wasn't because I didn't know how to make a zero tick piston. I've tried multiple ways that are actually how you make a zero tick piston, and it just was broken for some reason. Oh yeah, the short for this is probably my favorite short I had ever made. Let me see. Oh, okay, let me switch to Firefox and we can take a look at it. Let me pause my music that I'm listening to. That was this one, and where I synchronized the music to the. Oh gosh, why is it? There we go. Yeah, that's the stuff right there. That's how to make a redstone short. But the replay kind of gets a little bit weird. Replay mod does all the, moving the camera around too much that you don't actually want it to do. But I still do love this. The music synchronized to the stuff is how I have the most fun making shorts and stuff. I need to make more shorts, but truth be told, shorts don't really do a lot for the channel besides, maybe getting a few subs. And at the time that I can make a short with all the content from the video I'm working on, I'm usually so burnt out that I'm like, I really don't feel like doing anything else. I just want to get this video published that's been taking me forever. So that's why I haven't been doing as many shorts. But yeah, this thing is this thing is good for a manual harvest, simple clay farm, and it still is pretty good for that. I would probably change this to be a copper bulb now and redo this to be just a standard zero tick piston. But besides that, it still works fine. And I had an interesting idea to convert this into a TNT duper now that we have auto crafting, because you could auto craft the clay balls into clay. And whereas before you would just get clay balls and then you'd have to do, either manual crafting or the player based crafting with external tools. That's not really my forte. But yeah, now you could craft it into clay balls and craft those into blocks, and then you could even smelt those. So I had a really neat idea to do basically a dirt to terracotta farm, and it's still very possible. It's just kind of beyond the level of simplicity I'd like to go for on the channel. It's not really a beginner friendly thing. Oh, I need to catch up in chat. I always forget to read chat. Thanks. Thanks, Veliex. Appreciate it. And Ethan. And what's up, A Forever? I pronounce everyone's names wrong every time. I'm so sorry, everybody. Let me see. Nikosi says, hello, Potato Noir. Speaking of interesting ideas, I know this is unrelated coming up, but you know what might be a cool idea? Speed running, building the farm, and survival. Yeah, I could do that. I don't know if I want to or not. But the reason I haven't done more survival builds is just because I can't do YouTube full time, essentially, just because of life obligations. I'm about to be even more busy this last semester that I have to do. So that's why I haven't done more survival Let's Play stuff. I would love to try my hand at that type of content, but right now I feel like I'm doing a lot better in the creative farm building space at the moment, and I want to prioritize that if I have to choose just one. Yeah, shorts aren't as helpful as now that I have more of a sub count octo. And what's up, Fluffy? I agree 100% Fluffy with that. But yeah, so that's clay farm. Could potentially be a dirt to terracotta now, but not as it is here by any means. It would have to be much more automatic and much bigger. It would be a fun, interesting project maybe for the Spud server to look at later on, though. So that's pretty cool. So what is the next one? Let's go back. Let's see. The next main video I did was the iron farm. Yeah, so those were pretty far apart, I think. I took a while on this one. The iron farm is my video editing started to get better for here. I would say that right in about these 3 or 4 videos is when I got a lot better at that. Ooh. Hold on one sec. Okay, never mind. Yeah, so the iron farm, there is one on this world. Make sure that that's coming through. Yes. Okay. Yeah, there is one on the test world that I was kind of poking around at and making a lot of adjustments. And this was where I finalized the version that you see in the video. I'm taking out all the villagers because they cause a lot of lag and I don't need them here anymore, really. But this was a really fun project, and I feel like it still is could definitely be useful as it is to a lot of people. So that's really neat. Of course, it's not the best rates ever on iron, but it gets a little bit better because the villagers can't see each other. So that's always good. I had a really cool idea to do a instead of a 3-in-1, doing a 5-in-1 with adding a raid farm and a crop farm to something like this. But I haven't done it because it sounds like it'd be a house of cards, and a lot of people might like miss a block, and then therefore all the villagers would die or something like that. And I feel like that would be really catastrophic. So that might be another project in the future, but it might not even really be feasible. We'll see. Might be something I look into if I'm ever really bored. So, but the iron farm, I feel like the newbiness level here isn't really that bad. The only thing I might change is the collection on these pods. Not having a hopper minecart would be definitely a lot better, and there's got to be a way to do it without having a hopper minecart here that works. So I'd have to take a look and see what that would be. Something would probably be better than that, because hopper minecarts cause a lot of lag, and there's already a bunch of villagers here, so trying to get that as low as possible would be a good idea. But yeah, we built this on the server, and everyone placed a block, or had like some sort of block around, and so that golems spawned, and the pillager died like multiple times, and I think it's still dead because no one's put it back after the carnage has happened. So that's probably one of the main issues with this too, is that if you don't have any non-spawnable here, or if people don't know how to operate it, they probably will break it. So that's very sad, but still pretty good system overall. All right. Next off, we have the bamboo farm. Okay, and this is one that I've been looking at a lot lately because of the new video. And so the bamboo farm, it's still an interesting concept. However, there's a lot that is actually wrong with this that I wish that I could fix, and can't anymore because the video is already uploaded. This isn't mine. This is a more complicated version that Puns sent to me a long time ago. But this is the very first iteration, I believe. And this is also on the same world and everything. So the main there's a few things wrong with this. It's still a decent concept and is very compact and everything. Number one, I still didn't know how to use carpet testing for rates whenever I did this, so I don't. The rates are pretty accurate, but I would want to do a long carpet test to make sure. So that might be something. But I didn't falsify anything. It's just I probably didn't run it for 10 hours or whatever. I probably did like 3 or 4 1 hour tests and then manually counted everything like a noob. But anyway, this is another thing that I would fix about this designer, is really kind of an inherent flaw in the design, is that if you have a minecart with a chest here, and I guess it's not as big of a deal for this version that uses bamboo, but for the other version, for 1.21 that I have on my Discord, and I don't even think that version's on this world, but essentially the cart does not make it back around to the furnaces before the item is done smelting. So that means that if you have other fuel here, or like bamboo planks in the 1.21 version, then it would lose efficiency because it didn't get back in here. It's kind of hard to explain. I'll show it on the other world when we get there. Carpet infinite hopper thingy with the wool. Actually, there is a furnace in my new video world download that will be shared that does use carpet duping. It's the one from TMCC that I believe Sam and I forget who else made. But there is a cool design in that Discord that I would recommend. There's links to it in my Discord if you only have access to there right now. But the link, you can find it by searching in the pinned comments on the lounge of Spud Central. And you can go into there and find that other Discord that has the actual carpet design. But anyway, so another thing about this that it leaves things to be desired is whenever all the fuel runs out, a common problem that people had was they would just smelt more items than they had bamboo in storage to actually smelt in here. And so whenever a furnace would completely run out of fuel, basically whenever this is completely gone, you get another item in the top. If you get one bamboo in here, then it's no longer going to be able to smelt the whole item because each bamboo only smelts. Here, I'll show you. Let's just get an ore. Because in order to smelt this, you need actually 4 bamboo, right? So if you get another item in here and then you get 1 bamboo, it's going to run out before another bamboo gets back in here. And so that was an inherent flaw with the way this worked, because if you ran out of fuel underneath, then you'd have to manually clear out every other smelted item in here, then let bamboo fill up, and then you could start smelting again. And that's really annoying to have to take an item out of everything. So you would need to figure out a way to detect whenever fuel was gone and have that, stop the system, which is another thing that I fixed in the 1.21 version. But anyway, don't mind this. This is just random spaghetti from doing rail shenanigans for different directions and stuff. But anyway, that's basically this thing. I can't remember any other questions that people had about it that basically the design left something to be desired. Of course, it is directional, and there's easy fixes for that. That wasn't really a problem. There's not a way to get a separate amount of an exact amount of bamboo out of each of these chests by default either, which you could change if you wanted to, and is changed in the 1.21 version. But I mean, it works. I don't think it's ideal anymore. I think the new version I'm about to come out will essentially completely replace this because you could get more stuff with the mob farm anyway. But maybe some people might still find a version, some space for the new crafter version, and even though it is more complicated, and probably not going to do a video on that in the future. Okay, what else? What was next? The early mob farm. This is actually fascinating because I actually didn't feature this in my current mob farm video. And the reason I didn't was really just because it was getting way too long. Um, Dang, it's so dark. Like you can't even see it. I think the compression kind of did this one a little bit dirty too. Definitely have gotten visuals better since then. But this is actually still a very viable design. Um, I actually want to hop into the world for this because I was taking a look at it, and you can actually improve the rates of this by about 50% or so by using the new boat clock instead of the comparator clock the repeater clock that I used on here. So let's actually look at the I know the visuals are bad. I agree. I agree. The compression really does make it look worse than it did before. But it's a very quick shot anyway. So let's jump into the world for that. Give me just a second to find it. Here it is. Okay, here we are, and y'all should be here with me. Yeah. Okay. Cool. 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 So this is the world for this thing, and here is what it looks like with the boat clock. So this is the longer boat clock, if you recall the timings of the two. This is the one that's a little bit over 20 seconds because the this farm doesn't have as many spawning spaces, so it needs a little bit more time. But let's get a bot up at the top, and I can show how the rates are different from the original. Oh my gosh. I don't have the carpet no clip enabled right now, so I'm like bumping into stuff that I don't normally bump into. Yeah, let's do that. Okay. That should fix the issue. So now should be able to see that this actually does do a lot better. So let's do a quick hour test. It's not going to go very fast because my PC's doing a decent amount right now, which is fine. But it does work a lot better with this clock. And it's probably even more worthwhile with the clock. Don't mind the stupid grindstones here. I was just testing out random stuff at one point. It's not probably not the what's actually ideal for that. Maybe it is. I don't know. I can't even remember. I'd have to go back and test and see if it was better rates. I was trying to get less items falling around the campfires, but occasionally I think some can still get out. But maybe the grindstones did help with that a little bit. I can't remember. I'd have to do more testing. But we can take a look at this whenever it actually completes the test real quick. But it does. This actually is still very viable for a beginner system. The only thing, it doesn't really require that much spawn proofing now, but if you don't have, mini HUD to see all these spaces, then it is going to be a little bit annoying getting all these in place. But if you're talking about most bare bones mob farms, then I don't really think you can do much better than this. Even though it's probably worth it to do the bigger tower version for most people anyway, if you're just on a single player newbie survival world and you want something as fast as possible, then this is probably the best way to go still. I think. I mean, there's still people that I do think would find use in this. It's probably not TMC approved, but who cares about that? It would work for those people. And see, look, it's getting a pretty good amount for each wave here, and that's every 20 seconds. So it still does pretty good. The grindstones are for the because every now and then there is a little bit of item loss out of the side of these campfires. They would kind of shoot out this way. I was testing out whether or not having a different hitbox here would fix that or not. So it's not like a finalized version or anything. It's just random testing for at one point. The rest of this cage is to keep the spiders from being able to climb back up. So that's why it looks a little bit weird. Let's see what the counter's at. It's 883 per hour. And that, I mean, it's not very good, but if you think about that, like most normal tower mob farms that are based on Nimbon's old design, they don't get much more than 1,000. And this is a lot easier to build than those. So it's probably still worth it for some people. And I believe that's almost double the rates that were in the actual video. Let me see. Let me see. Trying to find it. Uses by far the least materials that are more accessible, has the shortest build. All literally less value building time. Layer above the go ahead and jump in. And also 0.30, which is pretty darn good for It's in the video somewhere. Maybe it's at the very beginning. Huh. I know it's in here, but I'm not feeling like taking all the time to run through it again. Hmm. Oh well, that's fine. I'm pretty sure it was like just over 400 bones per hour or something along those lines. I have to go back and test it again. Making sure to face outward, you're gonna place a row of trapdoors. Wait. Okay, yeah, y'all are still here. Cool. And but anyway, that's a very easy way to make it a lot better. Hey, thanks, Cold Hands. Appreciate it. What was the next video? Let's see. Now we have, after that was the teleportation part 2. So for that, that's pretty similar to the first one. So I'm probably not going to go through that a whole lot. But that should still be working now. And then we go into the bone meal and the dye farm. And I have some cool old stuff to show about that. And that's in this world. And I have my earliest iterations of these that I think Octa was helping me with that. I'm not sure if he's still in chat or not. Hey, what's up, Penguin? What's up? Anyway, this was it looks so bad. I'm looking back at it. I'm not gonna lie. I was trying to go for like more aesthetics, trying to make this into like a pipe system. um I mean, it is cool as a pipe system, but it doesn't look good as it is here at all, I think. And I think it was definitely a good idea to switch it. Um, because this would have been like a huge monster. And so changing that into, let me see, I think this was maybe the first iteration that got a few things changed, but it looks pretty similar to how I did it at the end. Um, there's probably too much space in between all the dye farm chambers, so you could probably compact it a lot and save a lot on resources, but I mean, it's you could just use building blocks instead and it wouldn't be too bad. Oh gosh, there's a skulk sensor here. What the heck was going on with that cocoa bean farm? That sounds that looks kind of newbie, I'm not gonna lie. But anyway, the dye farm. That was another pretty big inflection point for the channel. Do I have the world download? I don't think I do. Oh, maybe it's here. Yeah, there it is. Here's the world download for the dye farm, and this is obviously a lot more professional than all that stuff that you saw there. Because I went back and redid, all the colors for each section, which is cool, and it still is newbie, right? Like especially the carts picking up the items is probably the thing that I cringe at the most on this version. A lot of people still build this though, and it makes me surprised that people build this one and not the 1.21 version. And I mean, I guess this still is a lot of work for people, so maybe it seems a little bit more simple to them. There's a little bit less cactus in here too. Um, Bone meal is a little bit more simple. Well, I guess I did use this one for a version of my other one, but yeah, I mean it works. It still gives you all the ingredients, but it doesn't actually, stuff like cyan. It doesn't actually craft that here or produce it here because you have to manually craft it. So that's why the other version is a lot better. But anyway, I mean it still works. It's still good. This sea pickle farm is probably also has a lot of improvements that could be made to it. I know there's a lot better per bow meal farms out there that would probably work a lot better than this for a version now that I would also change. But yeah, I mean, the concept is still really cool. And it was still really neat to be. I'm I'm very certain that I'm the first person to do this, and I at least I couldn't find any records anywhere. Um, we'll get to the mob farm penguin. We're working our way there. We're I think more than halfway done taking a look back at all the videos I made. Um, but this one was really cool, and it still does have a special place in my heart because this is the farm that is the only farm of mine that was made on Hermitcraft, and so that was really cool. Corrales made this, and I think it's the same season that they still are on, season 10, right? And they I don't think they've moved on from the world, and it was actually an Agreeing video whenever he did his world tour. Corrales took him there, and so that was pretty cool. I've been watching Green videos for a while, so I was uh, I was excited to see that again. But yeah, that was a really cool accomplishment to be able to see something on a server that you've observed from the outside for so long, and so that was a really fun thing for the channel, and I was very excited about that. It's been a while since then though, and it was funny because Krallis dropped that video right whenever I was like, I was like publishing the new one like the next week, and I was like, oh, he should have waited and built the better one, but it's fine. But yeah, a huge shout out to him. That was really cool. And so the next one I did, I don't think my next video after this was the 1.21 version. It was there's a few things I did with the crafter first. And so let me take a look at that. Yeah, I did the crafter. I did the crafter itself. Um, so this thing, I haven't really even looked at it in like a year, I feel like, or more. I need to go back and see how bad and or okay it is. and and actually maybe consider redoing parts of it, but I think it's pretty complete as it is. I don't think there's a whole lot that I would change about it. It's just more of whether or not I think it's bad now or not, I guess. Let me see if I can. I don't even have a version in a schematic or anything. It was literally just in this snapshot. I think that it could still find a use somewhere if you just plugged in shulker boxes to it. And as like a, easiest possible that you could possibly make maybe. But it there's probably ways you could improve it, I'm sure. I don't think I'm going to go through it a whole bunch on this stream. After that, another video that is very relevant to what I'm working on right now. This video didn't do very well at the beginning. It wasn't super popular. And then if you notice, it's pretty high now. Not a whole lot of my stuff gets over 100,000 yet. But it started taking off a few months ago. Um, I think around like mid or late November, and I was like, okay, I have to go back and remake this thing that I promised to do a tutorial for. And so this is the inspiration behind the video I'm working on right now, which is the bamboo farm super smelter. And so, oh, you still use a version of my crafter? Cool. That's neat, Pigpen. I feel like it's still pretty useful as like a just kind of like plug and play, like drop stuff in and, load the chunks and just kind of come back whenever it's all done. It's not, if you have a complex recipe, it's not super fast, but it gets faster for shorter recipes, and most stuff is shorter than a full crafter's worth. So I need to take another look at that, honestly. But this design also leaves a lot to be desired. I'm trying to think of. I also don't have a schematic of this one as it is because it was also made on the snapshot. Like you can see the crafters are like the old texture that looks kind of bad. Really, the reason I didn't do this thing is because it's number one, I needed a different system right here to keep up with the rates of the new mob farm because it It's way more than just one can handle. It's more than, what is it? I guess you'd have to do 9,000 bamboo every hour would be the limit for that. And the one I have now is like almost 18,000 bamboo once it's grown and everything. But the other reason is that this whole system is just pretty large. It's it if you look at how much fuel is actually made even on my new mob farm for the amount of bone meal, it's not enough to continuously smelt more than about 16 furnaces. And so having a 64 smelter felt kind of like overkill for that. And you'll see more of like how that math breaks down in my new video. And I'm gonna show a few sneak peeks of that video later on in the stream too once we get to the end of things. So you can kind of see some of the decisions I've made. Obviously not gonna show everything yet, but you can look forward to that in a little bit. But yeah, there's a lot that can be improved in this design, and you'll see a little bit of that. I'll take us through a little brief tour of the final world of the one I'm working on now with everything in there. So let's see what the next one was. I would fly around in the world of this video, but I don't actually have one. I think I don't even have everything on this either. This video was kind of in between, and I made another thing that probably leaves something to be desired. I'm super critical of all my old designs just because I've joined like communities of people who are posting a lot better stuff than things like this. But I mean, they're still probably useful to some people, perhaps. This is the smelting system that I used in the new crafter. So that was pretty cool. And a version of this is actually coming up in my new video too. And then the dye farm improvements. We can go into the whole testing world for dye farm real quick. Let's see. Here we go. Yes. Okay. All right. Yeah. So here's the testing world for the dye farm. That's my little theater I made for a fun shot that's in my new video. We'll see that in a little bit maybe. But yeah, here's all the iterations for this. It started kind of over here where I was spitballing this simple system with the all the too tall flowers and making all that. So you can kind of see all my progress here, and then working on the kelp smelter for this version and iterating some more stuff and doing a lot of different things. Originally, my plan was to use a mob farm to power the bone meal for the dye farm. But as you can see, it becomes very clunky and it gets massive. So decided ultimately that that was not a good idea. And I'm glad I did because I made a much better mob farm than this bad version. So this is not really optimized. Before I did optimizations just doing like a very simple version, right? And for this, I was having all the crafting being up top and all that nonsense, and it just didn't really work out how I wanted it to, and it just seemed like something that people wouldn't look at and want to build. Um, and it was very different from the first one, so I decided to try and compact everything in a similar way to it was done before. And so that's where these versions come in, and some more iterations of, kind of in between designs and everything. And here's the easier version with the few smokers and the old bone meal up top, and here's the chromos. And I believe these are the finalized versions here too, so that's pretty neat, at least without the wither cage. And yeah, it's, I mean, it's a dye farm. It's you've if you've seen the video, you know all about it. There's nothing new in this stream about it, really. Maybe some of my crafter design spaghetti would be over here too. So yeah, here's the different iterations of how that went, and so we can kind of see the general thought process. And oh, there's uh some really horrible things over there that we don't need to take a look at. But anyway, it's a dye farm. It's definitely better than the first version, and I had a lot of fun building it in survival. Really, I mean, about hopper speed is all most people need for dyes, but we had some plans for a really big version. Show us the abominations. You really want to see the abominations? I don't. This is not even the finished version of them. They're more of storage tech sins, and um, this is not the finalized version. And I'm not going to comment on any of this at all. And you can just take a look at it and see how horrifying this looks and make your own guesses about what's going on here. So this is a project that I'm very divided on, and I don't even know if I want to make it into a video or not. So we'll see if I ever do something with this. It's something that I both love and hate with equal measure. So I'll leave you with that cryptic information, and you can see if you can design it. I think there are some. I actually posted a lot better versions of the version that I think could be turned into an actual system that would be useful for people. That's in the Discord if you ever do want to look at it. You'd have to dig for it though. But anyway, here is the 1.21 version of the bamboo farm, and this is the finalized one, I believe. So as you can see, there's a lot more redstone spaghetti going on. But that's just because there was a lot of little things that bothered me about the old one, and I wanted to try and fix them. Light level is improved, so it's pretty much optimal light level anywhere, day or night, because of all these lanterns. Kind of expensive. You could use other blocks, of course. Auto crafting, it actually uses different chest carts for this because it's just kind of easier to wire them that way. So this one takes all the bamboo, drops it into here with the simple unloader. That gets crafted into planks, and those planks go into storage with this kind of little comparator system that'll only send the cart when it's full, and yada yada yada, all that. So it's planks instead of bamboo, which is supposed to be more efficient, and it is a little bit more efficient. But the thing is, if you can see, if I put, 2 stacks in here, and so you can see the cart is distributing all these, and yeah, it's all nice and cool, but watch this. It runs out before it gets another ore in here. And so that means that it's not going to be as efficient over the long term. It's not exactly, you know, 2 planks per 3 smelted items, and so that really bothers me about it. And there's not really an easy way to fix that at all. So that's annoying. That's really the only like major flaw in this that I would still say exists. Everything else is like, it's kind of hard to build, but it does serve like a functioning purpose. And there's also detection for whenever the items run out in here. So then this comparator would turn off, and then um, basically whenever the items run out, that comparator turn off, this piston retracts, and the cart would get sent to go pick up more items and all of that. So that's really cool. Um, Additionally, there's activator rails here to only unlock the cart whenever it goes under here, essentially. But I don't even think I actually knew how to do activator rails properly, so you would need like another powered one right here anyway. But anyway, so there's that, and besides that, what else? What other logic was down here? It was this little thing detects if there are um detects when it knows for sure that there's more than a stack of items in the cart, and then it would lock it whenever it goes down there, essentially. Or, yeah, it would. Oh man, the logic is evading me. We have to make sure that there's more than a full stack of items in the cart. So, yeah, if it has more than a full stack, it would not pick up any more, I believe, is what was going on. I don't know. It's been a while since. Whenever you have to decipher Yo and Redstone again, it's always a sad day. But that's there's a few other things in here too. Like you can depower this line to get output of planks into this chest, and that would take an equal amount from all of them. Whenever the fuel runs out here, you would depower all of this line as well. And so that would make it so that, oh, let me think again. When the fuel runs out, there's so many like little niche like logic bits into this that I honestly forgot what they all do. It would depower this and make it to where the cart would stop, but I can't remember exactly what the rationale was for that either. Oh, good lord, I should have refreshed myself on this before. Let me see what the Discord post says about it. Oh well, you know what? I'm not going to worry about it. But basically, if it runs out, then it would trigger a condition. And additionally, if uh, if it runs out over here, then this would depower this comparator, which would send a signal into the piston that would stop this cart. So, like, if it runs out, then don't send the cart anymore, is what that one does. And there's a lot of little things like that. And also, if basically there's not any more in here, it would stop the flying machine as well. Yeah, if the whole system gets completely full and this backs up with planks, then it would stop the flying machine up top too, because you wouldn't need any more bamboo at that point. Anyway, a lot of stuff in here, and I probably should have gone back through that. I don't like doing like solving problems on stream because I feel like I don't know, the pressure is weird. Let's just leave it at that. So let's look at the next video that I had. Oh, the ice farm. Do I have the world download here? I'm not sure if I do. This is something that I still think is super cool, but YouTube did not like this for some reason. Um, I guess people just don't like using external tools, and I kind of my rationale was that if a lot of redstoners like using carpet bots and carpet mod for farms and they think that's valid, then this is perfectly valid. But I think a lot of people just don't like doing either of those in general, and so this wasn't received quite as well, which is understandable. Um, but I had already made a sugarcane based on the auto hotkey scripting too. So I went ahead and made that, but it also didn't do very good. It has a pretty low view count and everything. But I built this on Spud too, and it actually works really well. Like as far as simplicity goes, it's definitely the easiest sugarcane farm per rates. Like it's pretty darn good, and it's very compact as well. But not a whole lot of people are ready for that, I don't think. Then there was the dye farm and the magma, and then that started the whole diorite saga. So that's interesting. I think I have on this world that I'm currently on is where the uh on this world is the world that all of my gold farm testing was done on. Yeah. So there's a lot of really kind of interesting and weird concepts of me figuring out what I should do for the gold farm. I went through probably the most iterations of any farm I've ever made for this thing because there's a lot of different ways you can do it, and I was trying to minimize obsidian as much as I could, but just was never working out like the way I wanted to. And here's another version of someone else's using Lamagro. This is not my farm, it's from some archive somewhere. Forget which one it even was. But anyway, I kind of got the storage to where I knew it was going to be pretty close to being finalized, but the farm itself went through a lot of changes, trying to see if I can make a small version of it, changing the portal layout. I eventually realized that I could get one portal per drop shaft, and that was really cool. Um, a lot of different iterations going on, and you can use portal spam to make it a lot better, but I eventually settled on the tower version that kind of like looks like a nuclear reactor or something. Oh my gosh, what is happening? Is that all these boats that is calling that? That's pretty bad frame rate right there. But anyway, so that's the that's the gold farm. You can see all the crazy iterations I'm going through for all of that, and um but that's kind of getting ahead of ourselves. The magma farm is, I believe it's like way over here. There's a lot of different ones. Here's a version of it that is, this is the Froglight variant, and it seems like the Froglight version changed from whenever I made this. They started pathfinding up and out of all the snow, so you had to make a whole different layer of this, instead of like snow blocks interspaced in here, so that was kind of annoying. But another thing that was really strange is in the Froglight version, if there was a block that dropped like right on the edge, the cart didn't actually pick it up for some reason. So I don't know exactly why that was happening. And it was only on this side. So fix that. I'm not sure what the heck was going on with that. And here's the different unloader that I had to make because the frog lights were basically more than hopper speed. So you had to do different unloaders on each side to make it kind of as easy as it possibly could be. I can't remember if I have a whole separate world for this or not. So I needed to do a little bit of testing on this, but we'll leave this one alone for now. Let's go in the actual gold farm world. But we can jump into the diorite world because it actually has everything inside of it. Let's see here. Yeah. So here's the whole system. I still think that my diorite video should have done better than it actually did. But what happened was YouTube saw all the analytics of my diorite video, and they're like, people aren't watching this as much as your old videos because it was like 8 minutes instead of like an hour. And so they're like, this video sucks. We're not going to recommend it to anyone anymore. So that's kind of why my diorite died, I think, and made me a lot more cautious about doing like different length of video times and stuff like that. But still a really cool concept, very fun. And the gold farm is good. I wish that I could remake the tutorial really bad for this because basically essentially the visuals are really bad in the gold farm tutorial, and it got worse after it was compressed as well. I was really used to playing with this shader in the nether, like this, without night vision, and oh god, it looks so bad. Why do they look like that's really funny that the shader like makes their eyes glow. But yeah, it it leaves a lot to be desired, the visuals, and I would change it if I would, but I can't. So, here we are. The schematic's in there. It's still a really cool design, and what I've learned from this is that don't hit any of the pigment ever, because if aggression can get trapped down here, and some people have a very hard time getting rid of it. So very, very be pretty cautious about that if you do build this, and you might have to die around here multiple times or in like the exact right place to where these guys know that you died. And I need to do a lot more testing as to what the conditions are with like how aggression is spread of different types, because it's really weird, because there's aggression to the llama and there's also aggression to the player, and like apparently the player aggression can get spread down here, and then the new llama aggression doesn't go all the way down or something like that. It's really confusing. And you know what, the simplest solution is just to never hit any of these guys, and that's what I'm gonna advocate for. Because getting rid of it can be weird, but if dying should reset it. If you die enough times in front of enough of these guys, then it should help. Otherwise, you might have to go somewhere else for a while and have your friend load it, or I don't know. I need to do more testing. But anyway, and then there's goes into the barter farm and the diorite and all that stuff, and y'all probably seen all that, or at least you know about it. Diorite is still fun. Um, diorite is still very interesting and wacky. Probably the most useful farm I've ever created, if I do say so myself. And that kind of gets us to where we are now. Let's hop into the mob farm world. That was the next one after this. So that is here. And I don't have the world of just the mob farm anymore. Oh, I was doing something for my tutorial actually with this. So I can kind of get rid of this now. Basically what this is I was showing how to set up the farm, the new super smelter from impulse filters. Um, and so I needed a quick shot of what those would look like. But anyway, in regards to this bamboo smelter, the input cart is a little cumbersome to use, as it would be possible to reroute it to be on the same side as storage without breaking things. Let me see. I'm trying to figure out what that's essentially saying. Are you asking why the input cart is on this side instead of going that way, essentially? I'm curious as to what you mean by the same side as storage. I'm not sure. But anyway, this is the whole system and this is the large version of the mob farm. So essentially, you guys have seen this before, briefly, and it is very slightly different because it needs to make room for this thing, which is a really cool wooden autocrafter. I've posted a few photos of this in the Discord, but explanation to come. I know this is newbie. This is not intended to be super technical Minecraft Mr. Nerd approved, but this is really an optional build for a very easy way of doing something that's very hard, which is making items out of every single wooden item type, or at least most of the most popular wooden item types, and including some of the ones that use sticks down here. Um, so yeah, this makes a few different things. It makes, well, you can set it to make any single wooden, any just wood recipe. So, this is making trapdoors, stairs, doors, trapdoors, all the ones that are really more useful. I didn't do slabs just because you can always craft those from blocks if you need it. Prioritizing chests a little bit more, and then over here doing some signs and things of that nature. So pretty neat, and you'll see that in the tutorial. And there's one more thing that I've even added that I don't believe anyone has really seen, which is a little scaffolding crafting add-on down here, which is pretty cool. So this is, it's not in the right orientation. You have to move the crafter facing this way and change a dust over here. But basically, you can dump a bunch of string in this and then unlock this lever, and then that crafts scaffolding at the same rate that you get the bamboo in here. And so that's really cool. I can give like 17.3 thousand scaffolding every hour, which is a lot of scaffolding for a beginner farm. And so that's pretty neat, even though you have to manually, toss the string in there. One string makes 6 scaffolding. So if you fill this whole thing up, it'd be 6 double chests of scaffold for that one. So that's pretty good ratio for that at least. But yeah, that's this system. I'm not going to go into it a whole bunch because you'll see that in the video, and the video is getting close to being done. I'm over the worst part of it, and I believe that I have either all the footage or all but like maybe like 1 or 2 shots recorded and in the timeline, and it's going to be over an hour long, which is why it's been taking me so long. So thank you for all your patience on that. It has been a wild ride and longer than I thought it would be so far. But yeah, and now I'm gonna do something interesting. Um, I want to show, how many people do we have in stream? We have a few. We got like 14 in. Um, because this is 10,000 subscriber special, I want to show the project that's been in the editing software. I use DaVinci Resolve, and so let's hop into that, and we can take a look at a few sneak peeks of the video. So give me just a second. Let me get it in my OBS real quick. I did not actually set this up because I wasn't sure if I was going to or not. There we go. And let me switch over. There we go. And so you guys should be here with me now. Yeah, I see it. Sweet. Yeah. So this is the project. You can take a look at the timeline.